I thought that the Co-op Arena was a fabulous stadium, well set up. The 19,500 fans, great setup. But it was also a great undercard. And one of the standout fights was obviously Zak Chelli beating David Morrell, Spence. Talk us through that performance, because no one saw that coming, least of all Callum, who sat next to me.
Listen, Zak Chelli was a late replacement. It was about opportunity, and he took that opportunity, man. David Morrell, people must understand, he's not a former two-time world champion, two-weight world champion. This guy's an elite fighter, a pound-for-pound star. Zak Chelli has only ever been proven, and sometimes fallen short, the loss against Callum Simpson at British and Commonwealth sort of level. I thought it was only a matter of time before Zak Chelli, this game is about levels, was going to get taken apart. And boy, did he tear up the script. He was losing round after round after round, but he stuck at it. A guy that's not known for his punch power, landed a big right hand, and he seized that opportunity.
Absolutely.
And that will go down for me in the British boxing ring as one of the biggest upsets to happen on these shores.
Yeah. Well, I was sat next to you, Liam and Callum. I looked left as Morrell was getting bashed up at you. Where does that leave the opportunity for Callum? Because that was the fight that was ultimately put into place for Callum. Obviously, the broken rib took him out from it. Morrell was very credible in his performance against Benavidez. So how disappointing is that particular circumstance for Callum? Or does it present another opportunity? And what does that opportunity look like?
I think if you looked left, you'd see me clapping, shouting, "Go on, lads." I was cheering Chelli on. But look, the thing with the WBO is Callum is mandatory for Bivol. He is interim champion after beating Buatsi, so he's next in line to fight for the WBO belt. Why should an interim belt have a mandatory challenger on it in Morrell? So it removes a fight that would have been a good fight, and we've always felt that Callum would have knocked him out, and as was proven with Chelli, the chin probably isn't the best. It would have been a probably good fight, but then Callum is waiting for Bivol and the WBO to clear the situation up. Either Bivol has to defend that belt or vacate that belt. Either way, Callum gets what he wants. He's two-weight world champion, or he gets the opportunity to fight Bivol, who's a great fighter, by the way. But Zak Chelli did great and capitalised on his opportunity, grabbed it with both hands, pardon the pun, and literally is now in a great position. He's going to get a world ranking with the WBO. He's just beat a top fighter in David Morrell, probably earned really good money, probably the best in his career, and puts him back on track for what he wants to do.
Is there a logical fight here potentially of your Eddie Hearn? Obviously you wouldn't be because you're 2'2" and he's 7 foot. But if you were Eddie Hearn, would you look to put him in?
This guy, man,
I know it's terrible. Would you look to put him in against? Given you talked about matchmaking for Ben Whittaker, is there a fit there for Zak Chelli going against Ben Whittaker?
Absolutely, why not? I think Zak Chelli's put himself in a position now. He's going to be a world-ranked fighter. There's going to be an opportunity for him. If one of the world champions is looking there, he might say, you know what? I fancy that. When we're talking about first defences, or if we're talking about a defence where you're looking to tick over, Zak Chelli has now earned that right. There's other fighters, other big names. You've got your Anthony Yards, your Joshua Buatsis. There's big domestic fights as well for happening for him.
Sorry to interrupt you, Spence. If you'd have matched Callum Smith with Zak Chelli before that fight, everyone would be like, why is that a mismatch?
Exactly.
But if he now goes and gets a top 10 ranking and Callum's belt becomes the full belt and that's a first defence, then it's now viable and it's now, it's a possibility. So it's sort of, it balances itself out. If he gets the ranking, it's well-deserved on what he's done, but all of the champions would be looking at that.
Listen, when we was presented with this fight card and you looked at that fight and you looked at Zak Chelli versus David Morrell, I thought that's brutal. That they've slung him to the lions. That's a fight that is like that's the easiest fight on the card to pick who wins, who loses, and how they lose. Zak Chelli by KO, and it could be quite early. He went up there and tore the script. I mean, that was the most impressive performance of the night.
I love the underdog.
It was a really good show.
Well, my chief support on the night was Jack Rafferty versus Eko Usman. Another performance, Paul, from Jack Rafferty. What do you take away from that?
I really rate him. I know him and I like him. I know the team. We go up to the gym doing bits of sparring. Steve Maylard's got a really good stable up there with the lads. They're super fit, all of them. You can see how Jack fights, especially. His brother Tom's similar. A lot of the lads in the gym are boxing in a similar style, where it's a relentless pressure but clever, educated. They're not by any means just come forward fighters. They can box as well, but the gym's buzzing. It's got a great atmosphere in there. They've got good fighters all around there at all different weights. But I was delighted for Jack. He's one of the nicest fellas.
There's a backstory to Jack, isn't there?
The story's been unbelievable, Spencer.
Listen, after the fight where he drew with Mark Chamberlain, his father come up to me actually at the press conference and said to me, "You don't know what Jack's actually been through. We've moved up at this new weight now. Down at super lightweight was always a struggle. He His bowel had burst. His bowel had burst. This kid was given 48 hours to live on my life after his last fight. And if you look at the story and how he overcome that, moved up to featherweight box, Echo Esserman, all right, he was coming off the Jack Catterall loss.
Lost his mum a few years ago as well.
Taylor before that. This kid was still very much elite level for your first fighter there. And the way that he went in there, glided in and out of range, and it was punch perfect. Again, that was an incredible performance. But what he overcome before that was even more impressive. Remarkable.
Good luck to him. I think we should probably just also mention Brad Rhea and his performance against Liam Cameron. It's probably the last time we'll see Liam in the ring, do you think?
I think it was a passing of the guard, wasn't it? I think that Brad Rhea was coming off the loss to Lyndon Arthur, split decision, great fight, but probably character building for him and would kick him on. And I think that's what we saw there. Liam Cameron, he had a win against Troy Jones since the Ben Whittaker defeat, so he got himself back into winning ways. But we saw there a guy that was, they were just sort of like worlds apart. It was a passing of the guard, like I say. You see a young fighter coming through that was sort of improving all the time, and Liam Cameron had been there, seen it, done it, been a great servant to the sport. His backstory has been incredible as well. But it was just one of those nights where, unfortunately, Cameron was just a little bit off the mark. It was quite sad to see in many ways, but it was a fitting end to a great career.
This weekend, live on DAZN and talkSPORT, we see Dave Allen, Doncaster Dave, going in against Filip Hrgovic. Dave's going into this fight with an immeasurable amount of confidence, seemingly more confidence than he ever goes into any fight. You've prepared fighters to fight Hrgovic. If you're sitting in Dave Allen's corner, Don, how are you preparing him for the challenge of Hrgovic?
Dave Allen, I love him.
Yeah,
the character.
We all do.
Yeah.
We all do.
So basically, I just love this guy, yeah? And to go into fighting Hrgovic, he has to do what he didn't do against Makhmudov.
Yeah.
Second phase attack, potentially a third phase sustained attack. Had he done that, he would have stopped Makhmudov, yeah? Right, provided he's got the engine to do phase 1, phase 2, potentially phase 3 attack before disengaging. And Hrgovic is soft around the stomach area. Leave his head alone, because that man can take punches.
Yeah, he's tough.
Yeah? He can take punches. I don't think he's ever gone over.
Did you see the last fight where he was cut to pieces, the David Adelaide fight, where he took a barrage
He took about
punches.
20 punch combinations from David, and Adelaide can punch. And he was rocking him, but he still never went down. So provided Dave Allen can work, fitness is very, very key here. Dave's got all the combinations to cause problems for him.
Right. Kenny, do you think he can pull it off, Spence?
It's a tough ask. It's a tough ask, but you look at Dave Allen's body shape, and he's got a great team with him as well in Jamie Moore.
Correct. Correct.
They will have worked specifically on certain aspects. Dave Allen has trimmed down in weight. What does that tell you? Yes, he is going to go phase 1, phase 2.
He's got a jawline. I'm not taking the piss saying that. I've seen him. He looks really well.
Absolutely.
He looks very good.
Listen, I totally agree with that. And you go, right, you know what the game plan's going to be here. He's going to attack. He's going to have to do what Don says, go in phases, and not be lazy in between that, because that was the problem against Makhmudov. He had his moments, he got too lazy in between it. So it's a very tough ask against a world-class operator. Is it winnable? Of course. Listen, we just watched Zak Chelli beat David Morrell. Anything's winnable when it's all about the opportunity, and he has to take this one because
so what's going to be
probably last.
So, out of curiosity, fellas, as a unit to ask, what is going to be different in Dave's approach? We've seen David Adelaide. We just talked to him. He couldn't do it against Hrgovic, right? We saw Dave Allen going against Makhmudov, and for whatever reason, he didn't do the things he could and should have done that you're saying he could have done in this fight. So what's going to be different against Hrgovic? Hrgovic is even higher up the totem pole than Makhmudov. So why is it going to be any different?
No, I didn't say it was going to be different. I said what he needs to do to get the victory, because it is a huge ask. I didn't say it was going to be any different. What he needs to do is he needs to be able to apply that pressure much more. Hrgovic, by the way, does cut up really, really badly.
But isn't it a state of mind, Don?
Sorry, go on.
Sorry?
Isn't it a state of mind? I mean, we're talking about...
It's a bit more than that.
Is it simply styles in this fight gives Dave a better opportunity?
Styles and the way Dave's a busy fighter. Once you let him into that close quarters, he knows beautiful punches he puts together. Body, head. Where he needs to body, head, disengage, employ the jab to come for a second phase, potentially a third phase. I'm backing him definitely to win this fight.
Dave is better than his record. Dave's a better
Correct.
fighter than he's
You look
shown
at his
in the
resume,
past.
yeah.
That's why we've always spoke about him hopefully going and winning that British title, because he's good enough to do so. And it's not like other fighters where they're saying, oh, he should just win the British and he's not good enough. He is. He needs a lot of luck. He's got to have hope. Maybe Hrgovic has a bit of an off night as well, or just gets a bit too, worked up and flustered because Dave's setting such a good pace. Dave has to set a hot pace.
Correct.
He can't be lazy.
Nope.
He's got to go in phases, as you've just said. He's got to be first and third. He's got to make sure that he has the last say in the arguments. And again, he's got to hope for a bit of the rub of the green, because Hrgovic's level's above. He's a class act. But as we've just said, we can't sit here and say he has no chance. He definitely has a chance.
He's got a big
especially after
chance.
watching Chelli on the weekend.
Listen, and
It's one
home
of those
advantage is going to be
moments.
huge for him in this one.
So
as
it's one of
well.
those moments, right, which I'm going to replay back to you next time you come in the studio, Don.
Okay.
I'm going to say to you, are you picking Dave Allen to beat Hrgovic?
Look me in the eyes.
I'm looking at you in the eyes.
I will not blink.
Because I want
Do
you to,
not blink.
I'm going to replay it back to you like the moment you said
Please
this is
do.
easy and that's easy, and I'm going to replay it back to you.
I 100% in my whole heart, I'm picking Dave Allen for a stoppage. It could be by way of cut.
Okay. Right.
As well.
That's unequivocal. If Dave does pull what is an upset, it will be an upset, despite the fact that Don is talking about the fact that he's picking him and picking him emphatically. If he does pull off this upset, this opens up another landscape of opportunities for Dave again.
Well,
doesn't it?
yeah.
In the heavyweight division, more so than any other division, you're one win away from a huge fight. And that's where Dave Allen's sat right now. He's one win away. Filip Hrgovic is a world-ranked fighter. The way that all the titles are going to fragment, with Alexander Usyk sort of, coming out of the game potentially in the next 12 months or so, it's there, man. It's on the table.
It might put an interesting conundrum, because I think, and before we finish the show, I think that what will happen if Hrgovic beats Dave Allen is he'll go in next against Moses Atoma.
Good shout.
That'll put a spanner in the works if Dave Allen beats him to the plans for Moses Atoma.
You haven't been speaking to anyone, mate, have you?
I don't know.
Is there any little conversations?
You've been going the same laundrette, Spencer goes too.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.